Hi, my name is Andy Schmuckler, and the big news of this day is what happened in the White House today with J.D. Vance initiating an ambush of Ukrainian President Zelensky, being joined by Donald Trump behaving in ways that are really unheard of in such meetings, and signaling, I think, something important, so that if I were in a position to be advising President Zelensky in the wake of what happened there, and my background includes a fair amount of time in national security circles in various capacities at CSIS, Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, and exploring the whole issue of security in an age of nuclear weapons. So looking at the whole issues of national security. What I would say to Zelensky is fairly simple. That is, this meeting showed that the hopes you might have had for something better out of the Trump administration than his siding with Putin and selling you out to one extent or another, there should be no doubt anymore. This was planned. It was unambiguous. It burned bridges behind. The verdict is in. Trump is not going to help Ukraine. That was pretty clear already, but this meeting made it unambiguously clear. So I would say to Zelensky, consider that matter settled and act in a way which best protects your country in view of that fact. Now, I believe, I'd be interested to know from people who are more deeply familiar with the whole picture of security for Ukraine and the relationship with Europe. I believe that Ukraine can survive okay with just European support. If that isn't true, he's not going to get American support so long as Trump and Vance are running the show. But I hope that that's true. And I would say that the clearest signal that that's produced yet from Europe is the election of this fellow, MERZ, to be the future chancellor, presumably, of Germany, which is the central power in Europe. And he has shown in his early statements that he understands that Donald Trump has abandoned America's role as a guarantor of security for is no longer a leader of the free world. That period is, at least for now, done. And he is talking about getting Europe to protect its own security, to create a system of security which is not based on the American protection that has been central to NATO and the defense of Europe from Russian, previously Soviet aggression. And I believe that it can be done. If it can't, he seems to believe that it can be done, that the Europeans can. So I would be worried if I were Ukraine of what kind of support is he going to provide to Putin. But if he's not going to provide any kind of European military support to Putin, I think it's just time to forget about the United States for Zelensky and work with the Europeans. This week we've had Macron, and then we've had Keir Starmer from France, and then from the UK come to the Oval Office, and in the hope that they can persuade the Trump administration to continue to play a role in protecting the security of Ukraine against Zelensky. I think that we now know that those missions failed. And if I were Zelensky, I might travel to Germany to meet with the man who's likely to be If that looks okay to Merz and former future chancellor of Germany, then to meet with them and to sort of create a crystal around which European security will build in the absence of America playing its traditional. Oh my, this is such a sad time, such an embarrassment, such a sellout of America to give up on our values and to give up on our allies and to give up on the role that we played on the world stage for all this time. But I think it's time to recognize it's unambiguous now enough. And my main thing I would say to Zelensky is continue to stand up. Don't worry about being too strong and alienating Donald Trump and his presidency. That les jeux sont faits. The jig is up. The decision has been made by Trump, and there's nothing to gain by kowtowing any further. Now, my wife tells me that Zelensky has done something that sounds like he's still trying to suck up to Trump. I hope that that's not the case, because this is a time for strength from Ukraine, from strength from Germany, from strength from France, strength from the UK, and to say, okay, this is what's happened. This is what the free world is called upon to do in the absence of the former leader of the free world. I don't want to hear Zelensky kissing up to Trump any more than he did which was, people are saying he stood his ground. They made it very difficult for him to stand his ground. He could hardly get a sentence out. Vance and Trump were lying about all kinds of things having to do with Americans and the Europeans and Ukraine. And before Trump said that Ukraine started the war, he did his best. And now he's got to protect his country without thinking, how can I get on the good side of the Americans? Because there's no ambiguity now. Not with that vote in the UN, not with his saying that Zelensky started the war, and not with this scene in the White House. The deal is done. Time for strength and courage and standing up for Ukraine against Trump, against Putin. That's all that's left. If Putin and the Germans and the Europeans generally can't protect Ukraine, I'd be surprised about that. I've been reading about how there are signs that the Ukrainians may be on the verge of actually getting a whole lot better situation vis-a-vis the Russians on the battlefield. I don't know if I can trust those reports, but I've been reading them. See the United States abdicate its values and its role in the world. But I'm happy to see the Europeans seeming to be ready to say, we got to protect Ukraine, to make Putin's invasion, which was unprovoked, fail. There really is no choice for the free world but to do everything it can to make Putin fail in its aggression. That's been true a long time. It's true now. And it's true that now means disregarding the United States. Thank you. I'm Andy Schmuckler. My website is abetterhumanstory.org. I've been seeking a integrated understanding of the challenges that we face as Americans and as human civilization. And I hope you'll go to betterhumanstory.org and see what it is I've put together that shows the nature of what has just shifted in the White House meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye. abetterhumanstory.org.